Good morning, everyone. This is Dr. Ayesha.Butalia. Our today's lab assignment practical for SCPM, that is Software Engineering Project Management. Lab assignment 7 is based on risk management. We have already discussed that in detail last time, but I would like to revise so that this recording is with you in case is there any doubt while performing this assignment, because this assignment cannot be performed in 2 hours. You need to spend a more time. So first, what is risk management? Why risk management is involved in SDLC, and how you need to manage and achieve, or how need to handle in our software development life cycle. Because in every project there are risks involved. Okay, so similar is with the software project. You need to find minimum 4 open source tools, okay, freeware, because there are certain very good paid softwares, but we are in a learning mode. So better open source need to be explored. Okay. Of course, when you will actually go on live projects, there may be more risk management tools coming up on Play Store. So you need to update yourself, especially in the field of computer science and software and IT. But to understand how basically risk management needs to be done, to explore that, to understand that, why, what, and how, for open source tools, identification is enough. Of course, it's endless. You can go for more. You have to explain in tabular form the comparison of all the 4 open tools selected, okay, for creating your use cases. Why we discussed about use cases? Because generally the interaction of the client and the software can be incorporated with use cases, but anyhow, it is not restricted. Even class diagram can have risks, because functionality can have risks. Last time we took about testing, so internal testing can have risk, outer testing can have risk. So it depends. It depends with the help of any UL diagrams, and also it will depends on the phase of the SDLC you are concentrating on. If you are concentrating on the testing, so even on the testing you can have risk management, okay, internal and outer. If you are concentrating on the requirement gathering, there will be a different test cases or different type of risk management. Okay, for example, if you are creating a medical software, so you need to consult doctors, so you need to have that risk that the doctor, whatever information that particular doctor to whom you approached, okay, you have to assume that those data was accurate. So last time also we discussed that more the data you collect, the more better testing and the precision in the data is there. So you can consult not only one doctors, but maybe say 10 doctors. But ultimately there is an end to everything. You cannot go and consult 1 million doctors. It's not possible. So however, you have to go up to the approximation of the data accuracy. It cannot be 100% accurate. So what I'm trying to tell is that risk is there in every phase of the life cycle, SDLC life cycle, because just now, as rightly said, that we cannot have 100% data accuracy. It has to be approximate. So however, whatever the percentage is remaining, that has to be on the risk. So you need to identify that in case the risk happens, how you need to handle. You can't just depend whatever data you got from the doctors. You need to, as a software engineer, make some scope that if in case some risk happen on runtime, or maybe during coding, or maybe during any time of that SDLC defects on client, on coder side, or errors on the client side, you need to be able to handle it. Okay, if you are using Yahoo Mail or Gmail, it may happen that you can do some malicious activity, or not as per the format of Yahoo and email. It doesn't stop, it goes on with some or the other action provided. In Java, that's called exceptional handling. Okay, exceptional handling is that, suppose, for example, in a switch case statement in C language, you have written a menu for 1 to 5, and you need to have 6 any other. But then any other, how can you handle infinite cases? So that any other goes to exception handle, where you can say insufficient data, inaccurate data, but ultimately some message will go on to the user, but it will not stop. Suppose if you're using GPay or PhonePe or Paytm, if suppose there is no money in the bank and you are trying to Google Pay somebody, it will give you a message that there is insufficient data, or maybe that right now the bank servers are not working, but it doesn't hang and don't give you any message, because if it doesn't give you any message, okay, you also become confused. So these are called risk management. So ultimately the best example, one can give for risk management in coding is exceptional handling using Java. Please note it down. The best example one can give of risk management and coding is exceptional handling using Java. So we have taken a couple of bridge courses using Java. So in that, you can check out exceptional handling. And nowadays, students, it's very easy. You can check out any topic on YouTube and you will get it. So just check out that topic and you will understand that very easily. You can showcase how you can handle your risk, okay, using switch case menu option in C language, using exceptional handling in Java language, or whatever language. You can just type how to handle risk, okay, or how to handle exceptions, and you will understand whatever language you are using, how to handle the risk using coding. So ultimately, you select any one of your choice out of them. Justify why you are selecting, okay, because it may be a personal choice, but your choice will depend upon the case study you are selecting. So if you are selecting the mini project, if it's your mini project will decide, okay, what tool is most apt for your particular domain. Okay, so that is why I have kept it onto you. And as we discussed in our last time practical, and you said that instead of I giving you the list, I make it as per your choice. Okay. Somehow we are going to discuss one in the upcoming time. So you need to draw a table where you justify the advantages and disadvantages of each. So obviously you need to spare some time on each of the tool to identify this. So it's not going to be very straightforward, but that's what is practical all about, that you need to explore. Okay, it can't be like I giving you theory and just you need to bug up. You need to explore. So it becomes very interesting. You find out other things also. And probably you pick the one as per the case study you select. Justify why it's most appropriate out of 4 for you. Okay, of course, out of selecting the 4 also, I would recommend that do spend some time to identify the most used and most easy and handy and useful 4 best risk management tools. Then do draw diagram for any of the 2 case studies mentioned. Okay, the best can be use case, which we discussed, but I mean, it can be anything actually. Use case might be simpler for you, that's why. But you need to draw diagrams for this assignment for any 2. But ultimately, you need to describe in brief and maybe into the depth if you want. For, I can say not 2, but let's stick to only 1. That would be better. Okay, so that you can spend more time on 1, because the time would be bifurcating on 2 and you have other subjects also to do. So I think 1 also would be sufficient if you understand. Just you need to explore that how risk management tool is used. Even if you tell me in Java exception handling, I would accept it very happily, because that is also a very good approach. You mentioned the risks involved for your project. For the open day, we have already discussed that the student may give a faulty attendance, or maybe even faculty can note down a faulty attendance. Okay. Because it may happen that sometimes there may be a human error from both the ends, maybe genuinely from a student side, but not genuinely from a faculty side at least. Then answer books could not be returned. Basically, open day was that we share you your answer sheets, okay, in your lecture series, so that you see whether by mistake we have not able to give you justified marks. In case by mistake, of course, maybe some question maybe we missed evaluating. And it is also important that you understand that if you score less, you should ask the teacher that why did I score less, because we will make you understand these were the flaws. Okay, basically we have mentioned in the marking scheme what is expected, and also before every paper we tell you how to solve. And basically SEPM was a theory paper, so in theory paper basically it is expected that if you want to score uh, full, then you need to have diagram, you need to have example, and you need to have description. I would recommend go it point wise. If you justify why, how, and what, then probably it is very good way to justify your theory briefly in point wise, and very handy for the evaluator also to pick your points. So this was about the open day. So what can be the risk that an answer sheet is not returned, but then changes in the answer sheet can be done, and then student can say, see ma'am, I had written, you have given less marks. Okay, then changes in the marks, student can done manually. So how this risk can be managed, I told you last time that we had already taken the PDFs of your answer sheet. So even if you do some changes, we can just check out when you return. We have already mentioned the marks in our Excel sheet, so we can even check out those and cross check, in fact. Okay, of course, attendance can be checked by calculating the number of answer sheets, and we already have a attendance sheet along with the answer books, so we can cross check even that. Okay, so the risk can be handled in every possible way. Of course, every teacher can have a different way to handle it. Every university can have a different way to handle it, but I think generally this would be the best way. McDonald's, if you go to McDonald's, your order, there is a token assigned to you and it gets displayed. Sometimes it happens that a 500 coupon can be interchanged by a 1200 coupon. Okay, so this is not justified by human error. So there can be different ways to handle that also. So manually the person needs to check. Okay, so instead of token, you can have name and etc. also getting displayed, because the person who will have the token will only have the name and some authentication details. Okay, even if you can have OTP while taking your um, the food which you have ordered, like the way you do the bank transactions online, so that you can handle it. Then of course your mini project, you need to decide what are the risks. So you need to upload this PDF. Okay, you just write all these points in a Word document, or even you can write it by your hand if you're easy to. Okay, draw diagrams and then make a PDF and upload on the TCSIN link. So it will be very easy for us to evaluate and tell you where you can improve yourself. But already the previous assignments are done in this format, so this will help you out. So actually, we were discussing about these 3 case studies, but right now, when the recording was stopped, I had told you that I'm going to take the attendance after some time. Okay, and I had mentioned the time also, 10 o'clock. Now, what happens is that if I would have taken the attendance in between, then maybe some people who are doing some work of the lab, then may not be available all the time. So it would have been a risk that the person is not available, maybe he's doing the work, because all the time if the person is online, then probably he will not be able to concentrate on his work or her work. So I mentioned a time that I'm going to take the attendance. Till that time you can do your lab assignment. Okay, I do not want to interrupt you in between and disturb you. So this was the risk. But this other risk would be that some people would take the benefit of this time. They may do some other work, or maybe they will not attend the practical online. They may be watching TV, or maybe some other activity. So if I would have not given the time of attendance, in between, if I have been abruptly pinged you that please give your attendance, then the other risk would have been managed, that no student could have taken it for granted, because they would have understood that the teacher can take attendance anytime. So these are the risks while even online attendance during taking lectures. Because see, ultimately when we take attendance, a student has that discipline that okay, we have to maintain attendance a particular percentage. That's the format of the college. But somehow that discipline automatically inculcates that student to be attentive, which is for the benefit of his and her only. Okay, because I can understand that there are a lot of subjects, the entire day you need to attend the sessions. It becomes boring. And maybe a studious person can also get unfocused. But by this means, the teacher can make you more attentive, because ultimately you need to concentrate. You have no other option, because you need to be focused. This is for your benefit. And like every student, you need to give time. Okay, without giving time to anything, that even if you don't give a time to a person, that person cannot become a friend with you, or even no. So similarly, if you want to become a friend with a subject, you need to give time. So these were the risks which we just discussed in short while taking attendance. So risk management is not very difficult to handle. In fact, I would say risk identification is more difficult. But if you understand by human perspective, and if you incorporate technical team depending upon your domain of the project, and the more expertise the team is in their domain knowledge, risk identification would be easier. The more risk you identify, obviously you know the risk, so you solution finding is not a very big issue. The problem will come when risk will come abruptly, and you may not be aware of it, and it will go on the client side, which should not give a good impression. So thank you very much for your patience listening. I would end this session for this lab assignment 7 brief. We would again connect in another session, which I would like to brief you about the Microsoft risk management tool and some of the theory part. Already PPT was shared to you in the last practical and was told to you to go through it, and as per your request that it was theoretical, we went it. But I would like to give you a brief theory instead in the another session. So please join back.